OK, well, Arsenal are in Madrid ahead of the second leg of their Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid. Arsenal cruised to a 3-0 victory at the Emirates. And Mikel Arteta has no plans to play defensive this time around.
To win it, the same that we did in London, our preparation has been the things that we have to do, the things that we have to dominate throughout the game in different phases to give us the best possible chance to win the game. That's clear our mindsets and that we're going to play tomorrow. There are three main aspects in the game. Is the physical aspect, the technical and tactical aspect, and the emotional aspect. And that emotional aspect is very significant because I have a lot of reassurance for what the team has done all season in positive context and in very difficult context, which I think it's probably the pathway and why those things happened. So to prepare us to scenarios like this and to be convinced that we can handle any situation and we're going to enjoy actually playing any kind of game that we have to be thrown tomorrow.
Well, despite the commanding lead that Arsenal hold, Arteta admits that it is tough to ignore the noise surrounding a Madrid comeback. However, the Arsenal boss believes that his team can pull through if they continue to do what they've been doing.
Yeah. How do you block out that external noise? Because the narrative here in Spain is
impossible. Outside, no, we can do it on the pitch. Now, I understand that is a narrative that is going to give the fuel to them.
But also, my other point was, it's over 100 games since you lost by a 3-goal margin. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that resilience that you've found in the last couple of years? And what was your message be to the team in the dressing room before you leave for the field?
That we have to do it again. I think it's over 472 days or something like this, but it doesn't matter. We have to prove it now in this context, and that's the beauty of it. That's the challenge, and that's the great thing about sports. And that we've shown that we are capable of doing it. That has to give us reassurance and confidence that we can do it. And now let's talk on the pitch and do it on the pitch. It's the only thing that matters.
Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya was an early hero in the first leg. He produced a number of saves to keep the game level before Arsenal's onslaught of goals in the second half. And he says the quality of opposition Arsenal face in the Premier League has helped him and his teammates prepare for these moments.
Luckily, I think we faced a lot of good players in the Premier League, and everybody's ready for the challenge. We know how good the attacking Madrid is, but everybody is on the toes no matter who we play. So we have to see it the same way as another game. Is another game as it could be playing against another opponent. So we just have to be focused on ourselves and just be ready for anything that can happen. The intention is to win the game. No matter what. We know how we played in the first game, and we have to do the same. We have to do the same, approach it the same way. We know we have a lead, but we come here just to win the game.
Now, unless you're pretty fluent in Spanish, then the word remontada might not mean too much to it. It's a noun which translates as comeback, and that is the word that Jude Bellingham says is being used in the Real Madrid dressing room ahead of their Champions League quarter-final second leg against Arsenal. Madrid are 3-0 down heading to the Bernabeu. Bellingham says the first leg was the worst result imaginable, but for some reason he and his teammates think it's nailed on. They can produce a stunning comeback or remontada.
I'd like to ask you about the most repeated word in the changing room during these days.
Remontada. Honestly, I've heard it about 1 million times since last week. I've seen 1 million videos online and made by fans, made by kind of you guys, I suppose, and really motivating stuff. It's a night that's made for Real Madrid, a night that would go down in history, but also be something that people are familiar with around this part of the world. So. Hopefully we can add another special night. It's a weird environment at the minute. The last few days, it's like one of the worst results we could possibly imagine away, and for some reason everyone thinks it's nailed on that we'll come back, and it's a nice feeling, I have to say. It means there's a lot of trust in the talent. It means that you're at a club that's unlike no other, the best in the world. That's what it represents and signifies to me. So there's a pressure that comes along with that for sure, and we'll want to deliver on what everyone thinks, that we can come back, and there's an expectation from Real Madrid that when we get into these kind of holes that we can come back, even if it's a really, really tough one and a really difficult one. I think probably in England it's not as common, although it has happened as well. I think Liverpool did it a couple of years back before they got to the final or something like that, or they won it. So yeah, it's just because the club have done it so many times, and that's what's so impressive about the size of this club. After the game, it's normally really tough. You have the kind of few moments after you've got to do the press. You're sitting around on your own where, you know, you do think that it's going to be difficult, it's going to be tough, and then the more you get speaking to the other lads and you see how confident they are, the more it kind of rubs off on you. The lads that have experienced these kind of nights before, it rubs off. Like I said before, it's infectious, and you know, it makes you a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable with the situation you're in, about the people you're going into the situation you in. So yeah, for us it was pretty much immediate. So by the time we was back on the coach, we was all not in good spirits, obviously, but realised that we could still be in the competition.
Well, there is plenty of justification for Bellingham's confidence. Real Madrid have been the masters of comebacks in the Champions League in recent years. Last year, in their semi-final against Bayern Munich, Real were a goal down heading into the final minutes. Then Joselu, once of Stoke, popped up in the 88th and 91st minute to send them through. 2 years earlier, PSG were 2 goals down. Real were 2 goals down to PSG. Things changed on the hour in the second leg. Benzema with a famous 17-minute hat-trick. In the next round, Real threw away a 3-1 lead from the first leg, going 3-0 down to Chelsea in the second leg at the Bernabeu. Real were heading out until Rodrigo sent the game to extra time. Karim Benzema then headed in the winner. Staying in 2022, well, it might just be the best of the bunch, this one. In the semi-final, Real were 4-3 down to Manchester City after the first leg and conceded first in the second. Riyad Mahrez put City in front. Then came pure chaos, and stoppage time double from Rodrigo sent it to extra time. Once again, it was Benzema with the winner, this time from the penalty spot. And how about a comeback in the final as well? A long time ago, back in 2014, Real were trailing rivals Atletico 1-0 with 92 minutes played. Well, you know what happened next. Sergio Ramos sent the game into extra time. Then goals from Gareth Bale, Marcelo and Cristiano Ronaldo put the game beyond doubt on an incredible night in Lisbon. So that is Real's recent history. But Bellingham has been doing his own research too.
I've heard Emilio was talking about one against Anderlecht, I think, where they won like 6-1 in the second leg or something like that. And I've seen the clips not long ago on TikTok. So, yeah. Yeah, that's my source of education these days. So no, yeah, I've seen a couple of those, and obviously the ones in more recent times. So yeah, it's something that you want to be a part of. It's something that you know, you want to add to the history of this club. There's not a lot you can do for Real Madrid in the Champions League that hasn't already been done, and tomorrow is an opportunity for us to do something that hasn't been done for the first time, and that's really important to us.
Well, it was Bellingham's England teammate that was the star of the first leg. It will be remembered for Declan Rice's 2 stunning free kicks. The first time he'd ever scored a direct free kick. Then 12 minutes later, he got another one. Bellingham admits he was surprised to see Rice score either.
Not really, no. We know the quality they had. I think the free kicks were surprising. I've not seen Dec do that before, to be fair. I knew he could take set pieces really well, the corners and stuff, but I'd never seen him do that with the free kicks. So fair play to him. That was probably the only thing, though, really. We knew they're a really good team. We knew that they have a really good manager. They're going to be organised. And, yeah, there was a lot of things that were really impressive for them, but nothing that we didn't expect. They're a top-level team.
Well, Real boss Carlo Ancelotti took training today and also spoke to the media and rejected the idea that his team's experience gives them a big advantage over a youthful Arsenal team.
This is a team that really well organised, that Arteta is working with them for a long time, so they have a really clear idea, defensively, offensively. And when you have a clear idea, you are more focused on what you have to do than on the ambience outside. To score early is more important part of the game, but the most important part to have a good control at the game and to try to do your best at the beginning to, as I said, to have a good control of the game, and then when you have a good control of the game, you can score at every minute.
We're going to look ahead to a huge game for Arsenal now, because they are on the cusp of reaching the Champions League semi-finals for the first time since 2009. They take a 3-0 lead to the Bernabeu tomorrow night, and Gary Cottrell is in North London right now watching the team train before they travel to Madrid. Hello, Gary. Let's start with injury concerns then. Is there anyone missing?
Yeah, when you say cusp, being on the cusp of reaching a semi-final of the Champions League, I don't know whether having a really good chance of doing that as a big cusp or a small cusp, but either way, they're in really good shape, aren't they, Arsenal, ahead of this travel to Real Madrid. Let me move out of the way to bring you the good news for Arsenal fans as we move right over to the pitch on the far side to show you that pretty much everybody is out there, including, good news Arsenal fans, Thomas Partey, who obviously started last Tuesday against Real Madrid, played really well, started against Brentford at the weekend, played well, scored the goal, then went off injured with what Mikel Arteta described as something, and when asked to clarify what something was, the little injury that he picked up, he just said something again, but it obviously was very, very small because he is out there with the rest of the team in these warm-ups and will travel out to Real Madrid. No Jorginho, he picked up a chest injury in that match, wouldn't have started anyway tomorrow night, I don't think, in Madrid, and I'm told he probably won't travel either, despite the fact that he's got all that Champions League experience and might be a valuable member of the group with that experience, but won't travel and will stay back and have treatment. Ben White, who is still having injury issues, picked up something between last Tuesday and the weekend, so wasn't involved against Brentford. He is out there, so it looks like he's available to travel, but I doubt again will be in the starting lineup. But still no Carvalho out there because, Calafiori, Riccardo Calafiori out there because he's still on his way back from injury. But other than that, a pretty clean bill of health. 5 changes, of course, made by Mikel Arteta in that Brentford game. Yes, more points dropped, but that's because they know that on the agenda now is the Champions League, fairly and squarely the only competition they have any chance of winning silverware, with Liverpool so close now to picking up the title. So no regrets that he made those changes, I'm sure, and all 5 of those players who didn't start that match but came on at some point during the second half and will start tomorrow night in Madrid are all out there joining in these warm-ups.
It is a big lead, isn't it, Gary? But this is the Bernabeu they're going to. It's one of the most daunting places to go and defend a lead, isn't it?
It is, but I suspect that there is bags of confidence given that performance, given that result on Tuesday night at the Emirates among these players. Just in the foreground there as the players warm up, you can see some of the equipment that they use for training. There's obviously balls, the liquids that they take on, the dummies that they use for set pieces, and also there's that little area there where they've got signs hanging up with zeros on them: 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. They take a 0-0 tomorrow night, that's for sure. We're told that the roof is going to be up actually at the Bernabeu because the weather's not going to be great tomorrow night. And I saw on social media somebody reflecting the fact that the roof's going to be up on the Bernabeu, saying that rice cooks better with the lid on. Wouldn't it be brilliant if Declan Rice, still buzzing of course from those 2 amazing free kicks a week ago, could do the same out there at the Bernabeu. The important thing, I think, given that Real Madrid, we've heard from them, are really, really up for this one. They're doing everything they can to try and make sure that they do pull off this incredible comeback. Wouldn't it be great if Arsenal could stop Real Madrid getting off to a good start, a nice early goal, which really would put the pressure on Arsenal. But as I say, there's bags of confidence. We heard in the build-up, didn't we, last week to that victory, the hashtag, which was repeated by Mikel Arteta on numerous occasions, make it happen. And there's a real belief out there. You could see them all smiling and joking with each other as they walked out that they can make it happen. And the supercomputer, you know I love a supercomputer, the supercomputer agrees that it can happen because they've got Arsenal's second favourites to win the whole thing, to win the Champions League. Tomorrow night they make them 91.1% favourites to carry on through into the semi-final, and then to reach the final they're 47.8% second favourites, and to win it they're 24.51% second favourites to win it. Real Madrid, by the way, the chances, you'll work it out if you can do maths, the chances of them turning things around tomorrow night they have at 0.9%. By the way, just as we finish with the guys training, the referee tomorrow night, Francois Letexia. That might be a bad omen for the likes of Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice, because he was the referee in the Euros final last summer, which of course Spain beat England. Also, though, bad news for Jude Bellingham, because he was experienced the wrong side of that decision, didn't he? But great news, perhaps potentially an omen for Mikel Merino. Another goal from him tomorrow night would mean to Arsenal. There they are. They'll be flying out about 2 o'clock this afternoon, 3 o'clock this afternoon, and then giving the news conference over in Madrid later on, we're told, is David Raya, sitting alongside, obviously, a very, very nervous, but I think confident Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, we look forward to that. Thank you.
Now to the news that caused a surprise yesterday. Luka Modric is now a co-owner of Championship side Swansea. His level of investment and what his role will be are unclear, but the former Ballon d'Or winner said he wants to help them compete at the highest level.
I don't think it'll be a bad thing, because, if, say, we can't utilise them at all, then I'm assuming the shares would get sold and it would move on and without any harm done. But hopefully there will be upsides. I mean, like I say, he's close to the end of his career, so it'll be more interesting to see what happens probably at that stage. I don't think he's going to do a huge amount while he's still focusing on playing. But hopefully it'll be a long-term thing, and he can, like I said, try and help Swansea to improve, because we've been on a bit of a downward trend really over the last few years since we left the Premier League in 2018. So hopefully we can reverse that and start looking up. For players, I'm in an hour and about what to do, and we can ask a certain Mr. Modric to make a phone call and advise him to come down here, then I wouldn't have thought it would lessen our chances of securing players. So, time will tell as ever, but that certainly would be the hope from my point of view.
Maybe it's just cottoned on to the fact that the EFL is the greatest place to ingest your football. Ryan Reynolds knows it. Tom Brady knows it. You know what I mean? They're all getting on board and seeing what this level of football is all about. Swansea City right now, they're a team that's made a change. Obviously, Luke Williams moved on. Alan Sheehan, former teammate of mine in current interim caretaker, doing a fantastic job. Really should be thought about when it comes to who the next permanent manager is. He's cut his teeth in a couple of coaching jobs now and shown his worth from a set piece point of view and a leadership of men point of view. So there's a real couple of strings to Alan's bow that I think really should be thought about by the Swansea hierarchy. And if it's Luka Modric that comes in and starts picking, Luka, go for somebody like that. I mean, his contract's up at the end of the season, I think, at Real Madrid, 39, nearly 40 years old. I think he could probably still do a job in the champ, just popping the ball around in the middle. The Swansea way. It's maybe, Matt, what it is basically is cotton on to the fact, like I said, the EFL is the greatest footballing pyramid to be part of.
Every word Mikel Arteta said about Real Madrid's comeback hype, fear narrative, Partius injury, and Declan Rice's rise. In his press conference ahead of Arsenal's massive Champions League quarter-final second leg against Real Madrid, Mikel Arteta set a clear tone, calm confidence. While much has been said in Spain about Madrid's famous comebacks and supposed nerves in the Arsenal camp, Arteta made it crystal clear that narrative couldn't be further from the truth. Team news update. Let's start with the squad. The good news, Ben White trained today and will be available, a big boost ahead of the clash. On Thomas Partey, Arteta reassured fans, he's fine. He had a minor issue during the game, but he's trained well and he's feeling good. Unfortunately, Jorginho won't be involved after a knock last weekend. He hasn't recovered. Our thoughts are with him. On facing Real Madrid. Asked whether Arsenal's 3-0 lead in the Premier League affects their mindset, Arteta was clear, we're here to win, just like we did in London. Preparation has been all about execution, staying focused on what the team needs to control during the key moments of the match. Handling the pressure and atmosphere. There's a lot of noise around Madrid's home advantage and their history of turning games around, but Arteta doesn't buy into that fear. They have their story, their past, and that's fair. But we have ours too. Our focus is on controlling what we can, and taking the game to places where we feel strongest. Mentality and mindset. When asked what quality his team needs most, Arteta didn't hesitate. Belief. The same winning mentality, courage, and drive to dominate. That conviction that we can go out there and beat them. He emphasized the importance of creating their own legacy. If you want to build a story, you have to be excited about it. You have to be prepared. You need belief and consistency. We learned a lot from last year, and now we're ready to apply that and take another big step. On matching Madrid's grit, Carlo Ancelotti joked earlier that his team would need hearts and backsides to get through. Arteta acknowledged that emotional strength is just as important as tactics or technique. What I've seen from this team all season gives me total confidence. Whether things have gone our way or not, they've shown resilience. And now we channel that into tomorrow's game. Blocking out the noise. Madrid's media has been spinning a comeback narrative, trying to plant doubt. Arteta isn't fazed. Noise is everywhere. You can't shut it out entirely. But what we can do is focus on what happens on the pitch. That's where the truth lies. He also pointed out how rare it's been for this team to suffer big defeats. Over 100 matches without losing by 3 goals. That says a lot. But we need to prove ourselves again. That's what football is about. On fear in the Arsenal camp. Has he seen fear in his players? Not at all. I wouldn't use that word. I'd say respect. Respect for an incredible club, their history, and what they've achieved. But once we step onto the pitch, it's about competing. And we're ready for that. Declan Rice and set-piece magic. Declan Rice's 2 recent free-kick goals have been a huge talking point, and yes, he's been working on more this week. If he keeps creating those moments, amazing. The 3rd goal last game was a perfect example of our team play. Now it's about turning those chances into goals again. Is this the biggest moment of his career? Possibly, but that's not the point. What matters is what's in front of us. We've never won this competition. We're trying to build something that can last, something consistent. And we have to earn that tomorrow. On guarding against overconfidence. Does Arteta worry that his players might feel like the job is already done? Not a chance. We've pushed the opposite message. What they've experienced these past 72 hours is meant to reset them. We're right there with them, mentally and emotionally. Declan Rice's growth and leadership. Rice's recent performances have sparked conversations about his standing among England's top midfielders, and Arteta believes the best is yet to come. His writing history with us. And when moments like those free kicks happen, they stay with the club. He's starting to believe more in his own ability to create magic, and the more he believes, the more it'll happen.